have one of the most diverse and complete rosters in the game. They have good units in all categories, and they have shield bearers, your standard tanky hoplite, elite hoplite unit with expert charge defense. They have killy swords, they have tanky swords, they have extremely tanky pikes. They are the only pikes in the game with 100 armor, so these guys are more resilient than other pikes to missile fire, but they are still susceptible to it. They have the Agema Cavalry, which is your standard shock cavalry. They have chariot options for the general, which is nice. Chariots currently the most deadly unit in the game to infantry. Hellennic cataphracts, very expensive for what they do, very slow, and it's going to be hard to use these guys to great effect compared to the scythed chariots. Hellennic cataphracts are better against enemy cavalry, but that's about it. The scythed chariots is a superior choice in just about every scenario. They also have the most dangerous elephants in the game, the Indian armored elephants, super heavy elephants with a lot of health, and it's going to be very difficult to take these guys down. But one good javelin volley is enough to make them run amok, so going for this general is going to be pretty risky. Hillmen, standard cheap axes with good armor penetration. Thorax swords, standard mid-tier swords. Tanky swords, killy swords. Then you have your killy swords, tanky swords. And then we have the Persian hoplites. The Thereos, your standard, the Persian hoplites, nice in defensive role. The Thereos, of course, can skirmish and go into square formation. The shield bearers, same as the general's options. They have all types of pike units, from your cheapest levy pikes to your elite silver shield pikes, but bringing expensive pikes is usually a death sentence to an army in this patch, at least if we're talking multiplayer. They have both the standard cheap skirmishers, the slightly better Persian skirmishers with longer range. They have the Syrian heavy archers with long range and good armor, and they also have a nice selection of peltas from the eastern javelins with 41 missile damage. They have the nice eastern slingers, they have the good peltas, and they also have the heaviest shock cavalry in the game, cataphract units. Still, it's going to be very difficult to make these guys effective in multiplayer. And then we have a nice selection of melee cavalry, all the way from your cheapest fast melee units to your mid-tier units, and then to your good Median cavalry. And the asset knights, not really worth bringing, because they are just so expensive, and it's going to be really hard to make them make their points back in terms of killing power. Then we have the skirmishing options, and this is where the Seleucids kind of suffer, because they don't have horse archers, which is good. They have the good horse skirmishers, and they have camel archers and Tarentines. Chariots, deadly as fuck. Then we have the Indian war elephants with lower morale and health, still a pretty good elephant unit. But the Syrian armored elephants are cheaper than the Indian armored elephants, and their stats are identical. They are also super heavy, so the only difference between these guys is that you can't take this guy you can't take the Syrians as a general's option, but you do have the option of going for with the Indian armored elephants and the Syrians. They have a Hoda with men on top that are firing arrows, but they don't have a lot of men on top of their Hodas, so it's going to be very limited how much damage they're able to do. In previous patches, those men on top were able to use flaming shot and whistling arrows to pretty devastating effect together with the attack of the elephants, but still one good volley of flaming shot from foot archers and some of the horse archers, and one volley of javelins is going to make these guys run amok, and then you lose control and they can just stampede all over your old units. So the Seleucids, very strong faction, can be hard to prepare for, because they can go for several different types of builds. Let's have a look at some of them. They can go for royal peltasts and a type of sword, a mid-tier sword rush backed up by mid-tier spears, bring a chariot, and then just go for some cheap cavalry to block enemy cavalry and to protect their own lines. Then you can go for a more defensive type of setup. You can still have your royal peltas general, but then you can, or if you are expecting chariots, you can go for an Agema cavalry general. You can have some levy pikes in the center to protect some of your skirmishers, let's say you bring Syrian heavy archers just for the hell of it. Might be better to bring Eastern slingers, but I'm just going to use these guys because the Seleucids can bring 4 of them. You're going to bring some citizen cavalry to protect your flanks, and then you can bring some mid-tier swords also on the flanks, pretty good thorax swordsmen, and now you can bring either more cavalry or you can bring more Thoreos, for example. So this can work. If you want to use this type of setup but you want to have the killing power of the chariots, which is always a good idea, you can bring, for example, less of your Thoreos and you can bring the side chariots. If you want to go with the elephant option, that's going to be pretty difficult because you need to take care of enemy skirmishers before you can use your elephant to great effect. So this type of setup is going to be pretty difficult to use. You can make some fun builds, some fun rush builds with the Seleucids. Go full retard and just go for a bunch of citizen cavalry, thorax swords, hillmen, and just rush the hell out of your opponent. Still, it can be nice to have some skirmishing support here at least, and you could go for some, for example, some eastern javelins. Lots of different things you can do with the Seleucids, but their main strength will be their chariot, to some extent their elephants, and their good selection of skirmishers. But it kind of hurts them, and they have a good selection of infantry as well, but it kind of hurts them that they don't have really good horse skirmishers. They have these guys that are good, but they aren't really able to function in melee like some of the other horse skirmishers. So that's it for the Seleucids. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the battlefield.